Okay, I think it's live on YouTube also, so therefore we can start. Okay, we will start. Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Sashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vigno Pashantaye Dorbhiryukta Chaturbhirspatikamaнимayi Makshamalam Dadana Haste Naikaina Padmam Sitamapicha Sukam Pustakam Chaparena Bhasa Kundendu Shankaspatikamani Nibha Bhasamana Samana Same Vagdevateyam Nivasatu Vasane Sarvada Suprasanna Kujantam Rama Rameti Maduram Maduraksharam Aruhya Kavita Shakam Vande Valmiki Kokilam Valmikir Munisimhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha Shinman Rama Katanadam Konayati Param Gatim Goshpati Kritavarashim Mashaki Kritarakshasam Ramayana Mahamala Ratnam Vande Nilatmajam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tatra Tatra Kritamastakанjalim Pashpavari Paripurna Lochanam Marutim Namata Rakshasantakam Vaidehi Sahitam Suradrumatale Haime Mahamandape Madhye Pushpakamasane Manimaye Virasane Sustitam Agre Vachayati Prabhanjana Sute Tatvam Munibhya Param Vyakyantam Bharatadibi Parivritam Ramam Bhaje Syamalam Namostu Ramaya Salakshmanaya Devyai Chatasye Janakatmajayai Namostu Rudrendra Yamanilebhyo Namostu Chandrarka Marudganebhyaha Hari Om Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Ananta Samsara Samudratara Naukayitabyam Guru Bhaktidabhyam Vairagya Samrajya Napujanabhyam Namo Namastri Guru Padukabhyam Namo Namashri Guru Padukabhyam. Okay, so before we get into our usual Ramayana session, today being the Guru Purnima day, I thought a few minutes we should spend on remembering all our Gurus. In fact, Panini, when he defined the Pada Guru in his Ashtadhyayi, Panini said, Gakaraha Andakaro Syat. See, there is a ga and there is a Gakara and a Rukara, Rakara, Ru, Gu and Ru. So Gakaraha Andakaro Syat, Rakaraha Tan Nirodhanat, Andakara Nirodhitvat Guruhu iti abhidhiyate. This is his definition. He says that in the Guru, the Gu denotes darkness and the Ru denotes, coming out of the darkness or taking one out of the darkness. So a Guru is one who is able to lead others out of the darkness. That is Panini's definition of the pada guru. In life, we have so many things, so many disappointments, all these are there. But what is very important is to know that while many of these can be compensated, when many of these, these small little disappointments and all that can be compensated, that is, or, even after a while, those things really fade to the background. But what is very important is our path to progress should not be stunted. The soul is born to only progress. And the progress is not in terms of these materialistic terms, which we are so much preoccupied. The real progress of the soul is, or the Atman, is its ability to experience for itself that it has moved towards this ultimate goal of self-realization. So if that part, if we feel lost out, it is not worthwhile. All other losses can be compensated, but this loss cannot be compensated at all. I mean, it will be a huge opportunity loss, which is impossible to compensate. And this is where the role of the guru becomes very important. So why do we need guru, and who is a true guru? I just want to quote a few shlokas from Kathopanishad and Vivekachudamani, because these things are very nicely expressed there. But before that, there is this one of these Kabir's Dohe. It says, Hari Kripa tab janiye de manav avatar, Guru Kripa tab janiye mukt kare samsar. So what Kabir says is, it is the grace of the Lord, of Lord Hari, that we will get Manav avatar. Naranam, Durlabaha, Naru, Jantunam Durlabaha Narajanma. So that is what in Vivekachudamani also it says. So it is the grace of Hari that you get Manav avatar. But then he says, Guru Kripa tab janiye mukt kare samsar. So this cycle of birth and death, to get out of it, you don't need a PhD in management. You don't need to be a CEO of a company also. You don't need a lot of money also. None of these are belongs to this. That's why Dharma, Artha, Kama is one marga. Moksha is called Apamarga. That's why it's called Apavarga. Not Apamarga, Apavarga. This is one varga, there is Apavarga. So that is where the role of Guru is. And in this country, this is so characteristic of Sanatana Dharma. And nowhere a Guru is celebrated, Guru is revered with a great deal of gratefulness, like in this country. This is our samskara, it's our samskriti, and it's our samskara in some ways. And that's why the Guru is very important. Now in Kathopanishad, let me just I saw some, in the Pratama Kanda and Dutiya Valli, the second division of the first, second chapter of the first division. There are these mantras, very nice mantras. I want to share this with you. There, the Lakshana of a Guru and a student is very nicely brought out during the conversation between Nachiketas and Yama. So look at this fourth mantra. It says, Duramete viparito vishuchi, avidya yacha vidyeti jnata, vidya bipsinam Nachiketa sammanye, natva kama bahavo alolupanta. It says, Duram ete. This is too far away. Duram ete. This is Dvivachana, two of them. Ete Duram, Viparite. They are also, one is the Viparita of the other. And Vishuchi, it leads to different ends. So Duramete Viparite Vishuchi. And what is these two talked about? Vidya Yacha Avidya. Avidya Yacha Vidyeti Jnata. So there are two paths. And these two paths are Paraspara Viruddha. They lead us to two different things and they are far away from one another. They are Viparita. That's what Yama says. Then he says, Vidya Bipsinam Nachiketasam Manya. He says, but Nachiketas, I believe, is one who is on the marga of Vidya. That's what Yama says. Why? Because Natva Kama Bahavaha Alolupanta. He, many of these objects of desires have just shaken off and fallen off from him. So this is what is being told. And why we need a very proper guru. And if you don't have a guru, what will happen? Yama says that in the next two mantras. And these mantras I have quoted a few times earlier also. Avidyamantare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha dandrabhyamanaha pariyanti mudaha andeneva niyamana yatanda. In fact, a version of this mantra is available in Mundaka Upanishad also. Same mantra, in a slight variation it is available. So what does it say? Avidyamantare. Some people are stooped in avidya. Avidyamantare vartamanaha. They are all stooped in avidya. Swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha. But they are in such a level of ignorance. They think they know the ultimate of all vidya. So swayam panditam manyamanaha. And what they do? Dandrabhyamanaha pariyanti mudaha. They keep going round and round and round. It is it is like a whirlpool. He says andeneva nitamana niyamanaha etandaha. Such people, if you get stuck with such people, it is like a blind leading another set of blind men. How will they reach their destination? The person who is leading also blind. The person who had to be led also blind. So how will we reach the destination? That is where very important. So that's what he says. And another very nice mantra I wanted to tell. Shravanayapi bahubir yona labhyaha. Shunvantopi bahavo yamna vidyuhu. So Shravanayapi, even after hearing it, bahubihi yona labhyaha, the ultimate that vidya is not obtained even after hearing. Shunvantahapi bahavo yamna vidyuhu. People who are hearing and hearing, they don't get it. They just don't get it. Although they have been hearing a lot of times. Ascharyo vakta kushalosya labdha. Ascharyo jnata kushala anusishtaha. So that is a winning combination of a guru and a student, that it clicks. It is really ascharya. The vakta is also ascharya. Kushalo asya labdha. The one who got the message is also benefited and blessed. And ascharyo jnata. The person who got to know this knowledge is something rare and it is a matter of ascharya. And kushala anusishtaha. Such is the greatness of the teacher. So this is what I thought I'll just share a little bit. We remember the last mantra, the last shloka in Bhagavad Gita, the 700th shloka, is Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitihi Matir Mama. So Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, that is the indication of a very competent teacher. Yoganam Ishwaraha Yogeshwaraha. Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. The competence of the student is indicated by an adjective, Dhanurdara, because he is very well known in his ability to use his archery. So he says, when there is a competent teacher and a competent student, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutihi, there is Shri, there is material progress, there is Vijaya, there is success, and Bhutihi, there is this fame and all that. Dhruva Nitihi Matir Mama. So that's what Sanjaya finally said, that I have no doubt in my mind that a competent teacher and a competent student. And this itself is Bhagavat Anugraha. To find a competent teacher and a competent student is a great pair, which all these are grace of the Lord. I also want to just share in Viveka Chudamani, there is this Lakshana of Guru. There are 2-3 shlokas. I just want to take just 2 shlokas and just share it to you, because we must remember all our great gurus who would all, right from the Vedic time, from Veda Vyasa onwards, they will all fit into this Lakshana that is being talked about. We must always remember this. Look at here, Shrotriyah, Avrajinah, Akamahatah. Look at the Lakshanas that is being described here. Shrotriyah, Avrajinah, Akamahatah, Yo Brahma Viduttamah, Brahmani Uparatah, Shantaha, Nirindana Ivanalah. Very nice, Lakshanas of great teachers who have lived, whom we should remember today. That is described here. Shrotriyah, one who is, well versed in all the Shruti. These are Shrotriyah. Avrajinaha. Avrajinaha is one who has no sin. He is beyond sin. And Akamahatah. Akamahatah. So he is not bitten by desire. So Akamahatah. Brahmavit Uttamaha. He is the ultimate of those who know the Brahman. Brahmavit Uttamaha. Brahmaviteshu Uttamaha. Brahmavit Uttamaha. Then Brahmani Uparatah. He is always reveling in Brahman. Brahmani Uparatah Shantaha. That's why he is in a state of such a composer. Shantaha. And the example Shankaracharya gives for that is Nirindana Ivanalah. See, Homa is done. When you pour the ghee and the padartha, you should see the fire is raging. See the Homa after about 6 hours, that is Nirindana Ivanalah. It's all, Agni is there. Sometimes when you put our hand, it really burns us. So it is all samadhana, but the vitality is there. It is not, very obvious outside, but it is all full of vitality. That's the Lakshana it is given. Nirindana Ivanalah. In another shloka, he says, Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santaha Vasanta Vallokahitam Charantah Tina Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavam Janan Ahetuna Jnana Pitarayantaha Ayam Sobhava Swataye Vayat Paraha Shamapano Dapravanam Mahatmanam Sudam Sureshu Swayamarka Karkasha Prabhabitaptamavati Kshitim Kila. It's a beautiful shloka. It says, Shantaha, Mahantaha, Nivasanti Santa. He says there are such people, look for it. Shantaha, Mahantaha, Nivasanti Santaha. How they are? Vasantavat Lokahitam Charantaha. Just like this Vasanta Ritu gives so much of pleasure and so much of Manasamadhana for people in the world, they are like that. Vasantavat Lokahitam Charantaha. Their ways of doing things are like that. Tirna Swayam, they have crossed the ocean of samsara, which means they have understood this. Tirna Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavam. This Bhavarnava is like Bhima, it is so powerful. Bhava Arnava. So they have crossed Swayam Tirnaha Bhima Bhavarnavam. Janan Ahetu Nan Anyanapi, without any reason. Tarayantaha. Tarantaha is crossing. Tarayantaha is making somebody cross, help others cross. So without reason, they are willing to help others cross this Bhima Bhavarnava. That is a Lakshana that Shankaracharya says there. Ayasobhavaha Swataha Eva. This Swabhava is very natural to them. Ayasobhavaha Swataha Eva Yat Parashrama Apanod. Their inherent nature is they want to, cast away other people's trouble. Yat Parashrama Apanod Pravanam Mahatmanam. Such people are there, and he says, don't you see Sudam Sureshu Swayam Arka Karkasha Prabha, with its Swayam Prabha, the moon, after a very hot sun on a full moon day. Today, today was not hot, but on a hot day, the coolness of the moon in the evening removes on a full moon day, it removes all that trouble that we have had on account of that scorching sun. These people are like that. So I like these. There are many. I just wanted to share some of them. And I think it is very important for all of us to take a minute and pray for, we should show our sense of gratitude to all the gurus, because without guru, this Bhima Bhavarnava Taranam will never happen. And the guru is God sent to us in so many ways. We are very grateful to this whole lineage of gurus. So I think we will take a minute and pray. Let us close our eyes and pray for a while and remember all the gurus, right from the gurus who are taught us in our school, the guru who is in our family, the guru who is with us now, and the guru in our Kula Guru, our acharyas. Every one of them contribute. That's the greatness of this country. So we will pray for goodness of Loka Hitam and for our progress also. For a minute, we will do a dhyana before we continue. Okay. Is Ramesh around? Ramesh was very keen. He said, sir, we must spend a little time before we go. Is Ramesh around? Ramesh is not there. He was very keen. Anyway, let us move further with today's so let's move on and let us continue with our journey in Ramayanam. So last week we saw the first 7 sargas of Yuddha Kandam, where Rama was very appreciative of Hanuman's great act, and then they have decided that we will have to cross. So the entire Vanaras, Sugriva, Rama, Lakshmana, everybody started moving and they reached the coast. Meanwhile, Ravana is a little disturbed by what happened by way of Hanuman coming and destroying and creating so much damage and so on. And he calls a meeting of his assembly. That's where we stopped last class, and we'll continue from there. So the 8th sarga is Rakshasa leaders. They vow to kill Rama and others. So there are 24 verses. First of all, Prahasta, who is the commander-in-chief actually. So he vows to kill Hanuman for all that he did. Then Durmukha and Vajradamshtra, they also vow to kill Rama, Lakshmana and others. The next 7 shlokas. Then Rakshasas start giving ideas to trap Rama and Lakshmana. They give some evil ideas, very low level thinking. I mean, it shows the kind of value system that has prevailed among the leaders, not necessarily in the general public, among the leaders. So then Nikumba, who is Kumbhakarna's son, Nikumba and Vajrahanu, all these people vowed to also kill the Vanaras. So Ramesh is around here. Yes, Ramesh, you want to say something? You are very keen that we should have some time today. You need to unmute, I think. Okay. It's all right. So in the 9th Sarga of Yuddha Kandam, in fact, you will find in the next 3-4 Sargas that we will see today, you will find that Vibhishana is really trying hard to counsel Ravana. We will see quite a few of those shlokas today. So in the 9th Sarga of Yuddha Kandam, there are 23 verses. And in the first 7 verses, all the Rakshasa leaders roar in anger and they all say we will kill Rama and all the Vanaras and everything we will do. But then Vibhishana comes and talks very differently. He is a loner. He alone speaks a little differently. He tries to tell Ravana that it's not at all a worthwhile idea to continue retaining Sita anymore. At the earliest opportunity, he feels that we must, return Sita to Rama and buy peace. So this he tries very hard on these people to, impress upon this particular idea. We'll see some shlokas. Natu kshamam viryavata tena dharmanuvartina vairam nirartakam kartum diyatam asya maithili. There are about 5-6 shlokas which ends with diyatam asya maithili. Natu kshamam viryavata tena dharma anuvartina vairam nirartakam kartum diyatam asya maithili. So he says dharma anuvartina, all these are adjectives for Rama. Dharma anuvartina tena, which is Ramena, viryavata. So all these are the Tritiya Bhakti. With him, actually with a person who is has a lot of vitality, valiant, viryavata, dharma anuvartina, one who is vairam kartum nirartakam. I think to have enmity with such kind of people will become nirartaka. It will become all vyartha. Natukṣamam, it is not also appropriate. It is not appropriate to have enmity because it will all become waste, vyartha. Therefore, diyatam, kripaya diyatam means please, maithili asya, maithili asya, to Ramasya, to him, let maithili be given. So that's what Vibhishana says in this 16th shloka. Yavan nasagajam sashvam bahuratna samakulam purim dharayate banehi diyatam asya maithili. Yavat means until that time or before that time. It all depends on the context. Yavat na sagajam. Sagajam means gajena saha, means with all the elephants. Sagajam. Sa ashwam, ashvena saha, with all the horses and so on. Right? Bahu ratna samakulam. These are all about the description of the Puri, Lanka Puri. So yavat sagajam sashvam bahuratna samakulam purim banehi darayate. I think if we don't do it, he will, you with his powerful arrows, he will shatter. He will destroy all of them. Therefore, diyatam asya maithili. I think we should not get into this trouble. Therefore, please give back Maithili, is what Vibhishana is saying here. Tyajasva kopam sukha dharma nashanam bhajasva dharmam ratikirti vardhanam prasida jivema suputra bandavaha pradiyatam dasharataya Maithili. Tyajasva, give up. Tyaj means to give up, drop or give up. Kopam tejasva. I think don't have this anger. This is not going to good. It is not going to be good, because what will this kopa do? Sukha dharma nashanam. This kopa has this capability to destroy the happiness and the dharma. Sukha dharma nashanam kopam tejasva. That is the first thing he says. Then dharmam bhajasva. I think follow dharma. Resort to dharma. Why? Rati kirti vardhanam. Rati is happiness, or joy or whatever. Kirti is fame. So that dharmam is the only one which will in the long run, not in the short run. In the long run, dharma alone gives rati and kirti can grow. Rati kirti vardhanam dharmam bhajasva. So kopam tejasva, dharmam bhajasva. Then he says, if you do this, prasida jivema saputra bandavaha, we will be able to live peacefully with our putra and bandavas, with our near and dear. Right? Prasida jivema saputra bandavaha pradiyatam dasharataya Maithili. Therefore, give back Maithili to Rama, Dasharati. So Dasharataya Maithilim Pradiyatam. So Vibhishana, I have just taken only 3 shlokas. As you can see, there are 15 shlokas here, where he was trying to argue in different ways and advise. He was the loner. He was the only one who was saying this. Nobody else was saying. They were all saying, oh, we'll fight and we'll do this, we'll do that, because they were afraid of Ravana. They didn't want to say anything which Ravana may not want to hear. This is the biggest problem. This is the recipe for self-destruction. If people have stopped their ability to take healthy criticisms, if people have lost their ability to hear dissent or alternative views, they may be wrong. They may be sometimes not necessarily even correct. That is not the issue. The issue is to allow. So to allow that, it is very important. If we are not, then they lose all their possibilities. So the others were not able to. They were only doing a prashamsha of Ravana. 10th Sarga, Vibhishana makes one more attempt to counsel Ravana. Actually, there are 29 verses. So what happens is, the assembly is over, and after Vibhishana spoke all that, Ravana simply goes away. He doesn't show any anger, but he shows his by virtue of his body language, perhaps, and otherwise, he shows he is not interested in this kind of abuse. So he simply goes away from the assembly. That's how the sarga ends. Actually, the 23rd shloka is like that. I did not really bring it. Now the next day morning, Vibhishana again goes into Ravana's Antapura to talk to him. So those are those descriptions of the first 13 shlokas. Vibhishana enters into Ravana's quarters to again see if there is a way he can counsel him. And verses 14 to 29, Vibhishana's advice to Ravana was once again, he was this time quoting he was actually mentioning several abnormal happenings in the city. See, there are so many things that happen around. I mean, it is not just about this Lanka. I mean, I will give you an example. About 20 years back, more than 20 years back, I was actually consulting for a company in Mysore. It was 94, 95, I think, maybe 25 years, I don't remember. I was consulting for a company in Mysore. It's an electronics control system. They had electronics, as you know, every 6 months, 1 year, the technology changes. So the old ones are all waste. So they had huge non-moving inventory. There was so much of inventory which they cannot sell. They had about 40 crores inventory. 40% were useless, non-moving. So they called us. Two of us actually went and did some consulting, and we went there. We were also bewildered. So much of useless items. How can the company survive? So we were talking to different people. We were trying to understand each one of them. We asked what is happening. To my utter surprise at that time, what I found was there was enough signals in the company that this particular product will go. This product has become obsolete. This product will be not useful for the customer. This information was there throughout the company with different people. Nobody exchanged this information. Every one of them received information and then filed it. Maybe it was a letter or something. They properly filed it and kept in the cupboard. So one of the important things that we did was we actually assembled all these papers and showed it to the CEO. What do you infer from here? The CEO smiled and said, if we had assembled the paper before calling you, we would have solved this problem. Like this, in our personal life, in everything, there is always signals all around. There is always enough signals of so many things happening. See, nowadays, this sukshma, this subtlety we have lost. We have become a little grosser. Now, I remember, my grandparents and all that, even on a normal day when they are talking, they look at and they see, they're able to observe some sagunas, they are able to observe, all these they used to say. Nowadays, we have become a little grosser on these matters. So many signals have been coming in Lanka. Looks like nobody bothered about it. So Vibhishana actually gives several examples of, you have to infer from all these. We can't turn a Nelson eye to all these. We cannot keep quiet looking at all these. All these are perhaps informing us that some catastrophe can happen, and beware. And it all happens in our professional life, personal life. Let's say I gave an example from her professional life, but it happens everywhere. So we will see. I'm not going to show those signals, but what he said, I will show you at the end. Ayam hi dosha sarvasya janasyasyopalaksyate rakshasam rakshasinam cha purasyanta purasya cha. The ayam hi dosha is all that he listed. I did not bring those doshas. You can always, if you want, you can read it. Ayam hi dosha sarvasya janasya lakshyate. Everybody seeing it. The general public is seeing it. Sarvasya janasya asya upalakshyate. So they are able to actually see it. Sarvasya janasya. And also rakshasam rakshashinam cha antapurasya cha purasyantapurasya cha, in the city as well as in the antapura. Purasya antapurasya cha. So everywhere people are sensing that there are some strange signals coming, which everybody was afraid to tell. And Vibhishana wanted to show that blind spot to Ravana. He took courage to actually say that. We look at the next shloka that brings that issue. Prapane chasya mantrasya nivritta sarva mantrinaha avashyam chamaya vachyam yadrishtam atava shrutam sambidhaya yatan nyayam tadbhavan kartum arhati. Asya prapane, asya mantrasya prapane. This particular message this particular message or this sukshma vishaya, right? Prapane, to, propagate it to you, to bring it to you, pass it on to you. Sarva mantrinah nivrittaha, they have abstained. Nivritta means, keep off, right? Nivritti means retirement is one meaning keeping off from things. So nivrittaha sarva mantrinah. All these ministers are so afraid. They are so afraid of you. That's why they are not saying, because you don't want to listen bad things, even if that is a reality. That is a sign of a very poor leadership. That's a sign of destruction and poor leadership. When people are not able to take criticism, they have lost all possibilities of seeing the blind spot around them. So nivrittaha sarva mantrinah prapane asya mantrasya prapane cha nivrittaha. They are also decided not to say. But he says, avashyam chu maya vachyam. But I will say. I mean, I have that advantage of your brother also, and I am, dharma anuvartini. So I am not going to keep quiet. There are some people who, they are so much fixed on dharma. They don't hesitate. They will say. The way they say it, people also know this person has no axe to grind, but he will always say. And so they don't take so much offense with such people unless it is so damaging. So avashyam cha maya vachyam, and I will definitely say, what I will say, yat drishtam atava shrutam. What I hear, what I have heard and what I have seen, I must tell you, it is very important. These people are, whatever reasons, they are afraid and they are not telling you. But avashyam cha maya vachyam yat drishtam atava shrutam. What I have heard and what I have seen, I will tell you, I am not finding things to be good, and it is not prudent to push all these under the carpet. We must take cognizance of these issues. Otherwise, it is not good. Therefore, samvidhaya, samyak vidhaya, properly, inquire into it. Samvidhaya, yata nyayam tad bhavan kartum arhati. Therefore, please don't ignore these. Please don't push it under the carpet. I am telling you, and in a way, I am showing you the blind spot. This is what Vibhishana once again tried to counsel. Bhayam na pashyami kutaschitapyaham na raghava prapsyasi jatu maitilim surai sahendrairapi sangare katam mamagratastasya lakshmanagrajah. See what is Ravana's reply to this. After all these, Ravana is telling, Bhayam na pashyami. I don't, actually in the heart of his heart, he had some fear. That is why he counseled this assembly. Still, he is sporting a very brave face. Bhayam na pashyami kutaschit api. Kutaha kutaschit api aham. That is in the sandhi. Kutaschit chidapyaham. Kutaha chit kutaschit. Kutaschit plus api kutaschidapi. The ta will become da in sandhi. Kutaschidapi. Api plus aham apyaham. So that's how there are three padas there. Kutaschit api aham. I am not seeing any fear from any quarters. Na raghavaha prapsyati jatu maitilim. He is not going to obtain Sita by any means. He is not going to get. That also I will tell you. Na raghavaha prapsyati jatu maitilim. And even if Raghava comes, how? Suraihi saha indraihi api. See, sahendrai, that saha means along with. So saha indraihi api sahendrairapi. That indraihi, that visarga has become ra, and api become rapi. So sahendrairapi. Suraihi sahendraihi api. Sangare, if he comes to fight, Sangara is encounter or fight or a battle. Katam mama agrataha stasyati. How can he stand in front of me? Katam mama agrataha stasyati Lakshmana agrajaha, who is Rama. So this Rama is not going to come. It's not going to be that easy. He is not going to come, and even if he comes along with all the, you know, Indras and all the Devas and so on, he cannot stand me in the battle. So he dismissed summarily, bluntly he dismissed Vibhishana's counsel by saying, I don't care. I don't think what you are saying is something which I have to agree with. So that's what is happening. So 9th Sarga and 10th Sarga, 2 consecutive attempts by Vibhishana to somehow bring some sense into Ravana's mind, which goes in vain. So Yuddha Kanta, Sarga 11, Ravana calls for a meeting of the assembly to, further discuss. So 31 verses in the Sarga. So the first 9 verses are the grandeur with which he is arriving at the assembly hall. First 9 verses talk about it. And then the next 12 verses, Ravana gives a call to bring all Rakshasa leaders, ministers, etc. to the assembly as action needs to be taken. So he says, bring all of the people, because let us now decide what to do. So all important leaders, mantris, so-called well-wishers, all those, including Vibhishana, everybody arrive and are all seated in the assembly hall. So that scenery is described in the 11th Sarga of Yuddha Kandam. I'm not really getting into any of the details here. In the 12th Sarga, actually Kumbhakarna was incidentally awake, apparently. So he calls for Kumbhakarna also. That's also there in the 11th Sarga, that the shlokas are there. So in the 12th Sarga, there are 40 verses. Ravana, first of all, Ravana says to Prahasta to strengthen the protection of the Lanka. So immediately Prahasta makes order, all those, he says, yes, it's taken care, and those details are there. Then Ravana reveals his desire on Sita. See, look at the pity of this whole thing going on. The king is after a lady, and in order for the king to satisfy his desires, he is manipulating and orchestrating the entire country. This is how a country will go to Sarvanasha if leaders are like this. And just because this Duryodhana had a certain fist of anger and jealousy on otherwise dharmic people for whatever reasons that we are aware of, if he orchestrated the entire Arya Vrata, such kind of measures are indications of great disaster. So Ravana, shamelessly in this assembly, he reveals his desire on Sita. I'm sure if people must have told him this is all nonsense. I think you carry on with your business. I think you are unnecessarily buying trouble, but nobody had the courage to say, because that is a level to which Ravana's ego has ballooned. It has gone to such a level. So Ravana reveals his desire on Sita. He also apprises Rama's journey towards Lanka. And putting this background, he says, tell us how to handle this. I mean, it's such a pathetic discussion. All kind of great thinkers are going to sit and say how a king's desire on a lady has to be sorted out and find a way to, I mean, these are all, it looks so, low level. That's why he found his end very soon, actually. So Kumbhakarna actually was not at all impressed with Ravana's course of action. So he mentions, there are a few shlokas I'll just show you. He says a few things. He says, I'm not happy with the way you have gone about. But at the end, he says, nevertheless, I will do the needful to keep you happy. In fact, this is, you see, you should read Mahabharata and Ramayana, and you'll see a lot of parallels. See, Kumbhakarna said that although I don't think what you are doing is right, nevertheless, I will do what is to keep you happy because you have been taking care of me. These are all low levels of dharmic chintana. This kind of conversation are all not dharmic. I mean, one can say, being grateful. No, you should not be grateful when there is a danger to dharma. Dharma is the ultimate. If anything comes in the way of dharma, we need to find ways to sort it out completely. And everybody in the court of Duryodhana, when this lady was dragged by Dushadana and brought into the court, every one of them were keeping quiet, whether it was Bhishma, whether it was Drona, whether it was, even Duryodhana's friend Karna, and they were all privy to it. All of them were destroyed. No matter how great they were as an individual, but they failed to see dharma in its ultimate, dharma sukshma they lost. Each one of them had some flimsy reason of why they have to be on this side. Same thing has happened to Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna has, surprisingly, although he is not impressed with Ravana's course of action, he did not revolt like Vibhishana. Vibhishana is going to, very soon we will see. Whereas Kumbhakarna wasn't. So therefore, Kumbhakarna has to perish. Bhishma has to perish. Drona has to perish. All these people have to perish. Because that dharma is much bigger than all these. And sometimes, if dharma is so endangered, then it is not about means and ends. Means and ends are only a means for dharma. If the means and ends are not in the normal sense working the way it has to work, then even the means and ends have to be modified. That's what Krishna keeps doing in Mahabharata throughout the war. He, at some point in time, he realizes that if you have to establish dharma, we have to go beyond these normal levels of what is happening. Kumbhakarna lost it. Well, although he was not impressed, he finally said he will do the needful to keep Ravana happy. But he said a few things. We will see a few shlokas. Sarvametan Maharaja Kritamapratimam Tava Vidhiyeta Sahasmabihi Adavevasya Karmanah. So, Sarvam Etat Maharaja Kritam Apratimam Tava. Right? Vidhiyeta Sahasmabihi Saha Asmabihi Ado. Atra, there's Sandhi and all, we have to very this Au will become Ava. These are all very important. It's called, in Panini has what is called H-O-A-Y-A. That is. So here, what happens here is Saha Asmabihi Adau Eva Asya Karmanah. That is all into one mega, all these Sahasmabhi Radha Vevasya. That's how it is. Saha Asmabihi Adau Eva Asya Karmanah. Moment you split it, more or less the meaning is evident. Adau eva asya karmanah asmabihi vidiyate. What you have done, sarvam etat maharajan, sarvam etat maharajan, sandhi tat becomes tan because of the makara which is following. Sarvam etan maharaja becomes sarvam etat maharaja kritam apratimam tava vidhiyeta sahasmabihi Adau eva asya karmanah. That is how the whole Cheda, Padacheda is. Now, the meaning is quite obvious. All that you have done, right? You should have done it with our understanding at the beginning. You have just gone. It would have been worthy of you. Now you have gotten into a mess and you are coming to us. Because Kumbhakarna was not in the know of any of these. So you say, that's what he's saying here. All these apratimam kritam tava, all these you have done, but you have not asked, no. It would have been nice if you would have actually asked us, then we would have given you a better counsel at that time. When Kumbhakarna feels it's too late. Even two things are coming out of this shloka. One, that what he has done is wrong. That is coming out. Second thing that is coming out is Kumbhakarna perhaps feels too much water has flown under the bridge. It's very hard to, that's feeling I think he has. That's why this kind of a shloka is coming. Nyaye naraja karyani yakkaroti dashanana nasa santapyate paschat nischitaartamatir nripaha. Again, another important piece of information he gives. Nyayena Rajakaryani yaha karoti he dashanana. That's a sambodhana. He dashanana, O Ravana. If only you do your whatever actions you have taken with the proper this thing. Nyayena Rajakaryani yaha karoti. Saha na santapyate. He doesn't get worried and repent later. Santapa will not happen later. Paschat. Nischitartha matihi nripaha. There, Nischitartha matihi nripaha. That's why the rakara matir nripaha is there. Nischitartha matihi nripaha. So a king should actually do things properly. Then there is no need for repenting a little later. Again, what he is indicating here is indicating you have done something adharmic and you are at a stage of repenting now. We are at the stage of repenting, not just you. So that's the second point Kumbhakarna is making here. Anupayena karmani viparitani yani cha kriyamanani dushyanti havimshya prayateshviva. So anupayena viparitani yani karmani cha kriyamanani, right? Dushyanti havimshu aprayateshu iva. That's what is happening there. So it is like making an offering in a yajna, and without any devotion. Aprayateshu iva, aprayateshu havina iva, right? So that becomes futile and becomes actually, sometimes it can become pratyavaya also. It can have a counter effect also. So in the same way, anupayena karmani viparitani yani kriyamanani dushyanti. All actions which are done without proper thinking, without a proper strategy, and they all are get spoiled. Viparita bhavati. Kalatanantram sarvam viparita bhavati. So he is telling, you are already into a path of destruction, is what Kumbhakarna is feeling. You have done anupayena, not upayena. You have done anupayena. Done without any strategy, you have gone about this thing. So therefore, it's like offering doing a yajna in which you are making offering without any devotion. They all will go waste and it will only have a counter effect. Yappaschat purva karyani karman abhichikirshati purvam cha parakaryani nasavedanayanayo. Yaha paschat means anantaram. Purva karyani karmani abhichikirshati. What you have to do at a time, you want to do later. Paschat. Purva karyani paschat abhichikirshati. Chikirsha means wanting to do. Chikirsha. Kartum ichyati iti chikirsha. Like, patum ichyati iti pipasa. We say hunger is called wanting to drink. Bhoktum ichchami iti bubuksha. Hunger is called bhoktum ichchami. Like that, chikirsha. Chikirshati means one who desires to do what? Purva karyani paschat. Purva karyani paschat abhichikirshati. So in the same way, Karmani purvam cha apara karyani. So, what has to be done later, somebody wants to do at the beginning. What they have to do at the beginning, they want to do later. In other words, if any person tries to do things like that, saha na veda naya nayo, naya anayo. He doesn't know what leads you properly and what doesn't lead you properly. I think he has missed his understanding of what is prudently to be done, there's no imprudence. That part he has lost. All these are value judgment on what Ravana has attempted by going to Janasthana and bringing her here up to this point. He has given a summary of a verdict sort of a thing. Kumbhakarna has also said, not only Vibhishana, the other brother also said. He didn't say as bluntly as Kumbhakarna, as Vibhishana, but he has also said that things are not the way it is going. It should not be done like this. So even after this sort of, there are 40 shlokas, I have shown you only up to 32. So even after all these, it is, giving a bad progress report on Ravana's actions. All these 4 shlokas simply should have opened the antenna for Ravana. It refused to open the antenna for Ravana. Even after Kumbhakarna's, in a way he was admonishing Ravana of his acts. And then, of course, Kumbhakarna, after all these, he said, nevertheless, you have gone this far. What needs to be done from my side, I will do to make you happy. That's the mistake Kumbhakarna did. And he paid a price for that mistake. He got destroyed because he didn't stand on the right side. He was using some emotional gratitude, those kinds of arguments. He has taken care of me, so it is time for me to take care of him. So, these are all, please understand, the, showing gratitude, being kind, being normally what needs to be done. All those are only when the dharma is not endangered. When dharma is endangered, it becomes apad dharma. It is not samanya dharma anymore. Dharma is in great jeopardy. It is called apad dharma. Just, think about this. When the house is normal, then we have a certain way of doing things. There's a certain way of arranging our, keeping our living room very nicely and all that kind of thing. And all we will do. Tell me what happens if there was such a massive rain, huge cloud burst, and your bedroom and your, kitchen are all completely leaking and flooded. Completely. You can't even step in. Then your living room is everything. You will put your, oven at the middle of the living room, and at the side of the living, you will throw the TV to the corner and then find a small little space where you can sleep for the night, because that is your bedroom, that is your living room, that is your kitchen. Everything is that. Don't we do that? We always are, the house is on fire. If there is a fire in a room, you don't say, no, I want house to look clean. This item cannot be kept here. You cannot take it. Then the whole house will go. You pull everything, hell scatter, throw it on one side, and then somehow drench the fire. You try to put out the fire, and then let us think about it. So in the same way, when dharma is endangered, then the kind of action we need to take is not by using the normal course of arguments, which is what I think these people have gotten into. In Mahabharata also we see the same thing. Bhishma and Drona and all these people, they were all using some normal, even Yudhishthira, Arjuna, everybody missed that point. It's only Krishna who had it. In Karna Parva, there is a heated argument between Yudhishthira and Arjuna, for which Krishna is sitting and he is privy to the whole discussion. And Krishna at some point gets impatient and gets in and says, shut up, you people don't know what is dharma. You are all talking dharma in all kinds of ways. Dharma has a very different meaning, and it has a much loftier and an important way. That has been missing here. I think this is the message that we need to sort of look at these kind of shlokas and situations that we see in both the epics. I find a lot of parallel in Mahabharata and Ramayana on these broad parameters. That messages are very, very common. So 13th Sarga of Yuddha Kandam, and even after Kumbhakarna and all that, then the story goes on. Mahaparshva, he comes with a very fancy, wicked idea. He says, no, why are you doing all this here? Get her by force into your Antapura. Get Sita by force, and that's the end of the story. Then the very reason why Rama comes are all, we'll puncture the whole thing. So he gives such a wicked idea that let us use force on Sita and take her to Antapura, and you can be happy. That's all. Let Rama Mandal come, let us see later. So like that. Then Ravana says, unfortunately, I can't do it. And then he explains, see the kind of discussion happening in the highest assembly of a country. This is pathetic, and that's why all these people must perish, because they have brought the level of what needs to be discussed at the higher. Imagine in parliament, if we are thinking, if we are talking about a particular head of the state wants something about a lady, and the whole council of ministers and all the legislators are all finding out how to do it, that country is gone. That country is doomed to disaster. That's what happened here. So Ravana again shamelessly, reveals some story which made him impossible to do the same thing again now. All those are there. So when Parshva gave that idea, let us see what Ravana has to reply. Mahaparshvanibodatvam rahasyam kinchidatmanah chiravrittam tadakyaste yadavaptam puramaya. Hey Mahaparshva, Niboda, get to know. Tvam Niboda, you get to know. Kinchit Atmanaha Rahasyam. I will tell you one personal secret about me. And in the court, this is being discussed with the council of ministers and all people. Kinchit Atmanaha Rahasyam Tvam Niboda. Chira Vrittam Tat Akyaha Akyasye. Tadakyasye Yat Avaptam Puramaya. Something happened long back that I will tell you now. I will tell you that Vrittam which happened some long time back. I will tell you. Then he talks about this lady called Kunchika. She was going to the Indra's court, I think, on the way. This fellow, this Ravana, was apparently known for all this. He pulls ladies and destroys them for his own interests and so on. I think he did the same trick on him. And when this lady went and told Brahma that this is what happened, all that story in between that one or two slokas, it is there 11, 12. In nutshell, he says that. Shamelessly, he narrates that story. Then he says, then comes the 13th sloka. After that, what happened? In that story that he was saying, Tacha tasya tada manye nyatamasin mahatmanah ata samkupito vedha mamidam vakyam abravit tatcha nyatam asit tasya mahatmanah manye. Tada, at that time, this whole matter was brought to the knowledge of that Mahatma, who is actually Brahma. Okay. Nyatam asit Mahatmanah, tat cha tasya Mahatmanah nyatam asit, tada manye. I think at that time, this has happened. Ata, thereafter, samkupitaha veda. Veda is another this thing for Brahman. So the angered was in deep anguish. Brahma was in deep anguish. Mam idam vakyam abravit. So Brahma was very angered by what has happened. Inchikasthala. So he said the following to me. He is telling it in the court. He said the following to me. What did he say? What did Brahma say? Adya prabhritya manyam balanarim gamishyasi tada te shatada murdha phalishyati na samshayah. Adya prabhriti. Adya arabhya. Prabhriti means arabhya. Adya arabhya. From now on. That's what Brahma is saying. From now on. Now that I have heard this episode, I am now telling you. From now on, Adya prabhriti, yam anyam narim balat gamishyati. See that balan narim is balat plus narim is balan narim. So yam anyam narim balat gamishyasi. If you forcefully get on to ladies, which you did just now, right? If you forcefully get on without their, consensus and all that, if you try to get on to any lady, gamishyasi, if you in turn, if in case if you do like that, tada, at that time, te murdha. Murdhni is this forehead actually. This part is called murdha. Te murdha shatadha. See the dha in Sanskrit, if you add dha to any number, panchadha, chaturdha, ashtadha, like that you can add this dha to any number. If you add dha to any number, it means fold. So shatadha means 100-fold, 100 parts, whatever. Panchada, dvida means 2-part. Panchada vibhajya means break it into 5 components, like that. Here, shatada, 100-fold. Palishyati, kim palishyati? Te murda. Your forehead will blow into 100 pieces. Na samshayah, there is no doubt. That's what Brahma said. So that story, this shameless fellow is narrating in the court. He is giving a reply. He could have kept quiet. He could have, instead of saying all that, he could have kept quiet. He said, no. Otherwise, I would have done it long back. Unfortunately, there is a Lakshman Rekha for me on that. I am unable. That is why in Janasthana, he could not touch her. He only lifted the whole Bhumi, a part of where she was. He just lifted her and brought in some ways. Without her concurrence, he could not do anything to her. Ityaham tasya shapasya bhita prasabhamevatam narohaye bhalat sitam vaidehim shayane shubhe iti tasya shapasya bhitaha aham. So that aham is there. Iti tasya shapasya bhitaha aham prasabhamevatam. I did not forcefully na arohaye balat sitam vaidehim shayane shubhe. I could not do this. That was my last chance, and that was the end of the story. After that, if a lady is not willing, if I make an attempt, I will not exist. I will break down into 100 pieces. And this is the answer he gives to Mahapashva. That is why I am unable to do. I let her off. I just let her off because I was not in a position to do. And all these are being discussed. So now you tell me what to do. I want her at any cost. This is what he is telling in the assembly. And this is the kind of king and leadership we are talking. Vibhishana is making a third attempt now. Yuddha Kandam, 14th Sarga. Vibhishana is in solo again, tries to advise Ravana. 22 verses and verse 1 to 6. Vibhishana's fervent appeal to return Sita to Rama. Once again, he tries hard and hard. See, unless we get into this level of detail, We do not know why has such a major catastrophe befell on Lanka. We need this level of detail to understand. So much effort to stop. Same thing happened in Mahabharata also. 3 times there was an attempt to stop the war. Two emissaries were sent. The third time when Sanjaya came, Vidura, Sanjaya came as emissary. Third time Krishna said no. There were 3 attempts to somehow see if there is a way we can avoid this. Same way Vibhishana is trying for the third time. So he makes a fervent appeal again to return Sita to Rama. And Prahasta feels that there is absolutely no threat from Rama, which Vibhishana totally disagrees with this perception. He says, you have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. That conversation happens between the two in the assembly, in the court. And Prahasta is saying there is no threat. Vibhishana disagrees with him. So let us see what Vibhishana says once again now. Vrito hi bahvantara bhogarashihi chinta visha susmita tikshna damshtraha panchanguli panchashirodikayah Sita mahahistavakena rajan Vritaha hi bahvantara bhogarashihi chinta vishaha Susmita Tikshna Damshtraha Panchanguli Pancha Shiraha Atikayah Sita Maha Ahi. There is one more I required. In Savarna Dirga it has gone. Sita Mahahi is Sita Maha Ahihi. Sita Maha Ahihi Tava. Kena Rajan. So that is the Padacheda. Ahi means serpent. So Maha Ahihi. You know what is this Sita? The Sita is actually Maha Ahihi. This is what Vibhishana is saying. Sita Maha Ahihi. Tava Maha Ahihi. Right? And then he is saying her fingers, 5 fingers are like the 5 hood of the serpent. Pancha Anguli, Pancha Shiraha. It is a 5-hooded serpent actually. You are not seeing it. And Atikaya, it is you don't know. This is a huge thing. You have no idea. You are just seeing it like an ordinary Manusha. I'm telling you, it is Atikaya. Atikaya, it is like a huge serpent with a 5-hooded, 5-headed or 5-headed, whatever. Serpent. And the smile, when she smiles, that, the smile is like that, Tikshna Damshtraha. That is it is like the poisonous, this thing of the snake. Then Chinta Vishaha, the more she is thinking, no, you are put her into deep Chinta. That is the Visha. So here there is a beautiful description of the problems that she is coiled. Bahvantara bhogaharashihi. She is all coiled. She is all coiled together like that. You have no idea. And it is coiled around, you say it's around your neck. Right? Tava. Kena Rajan. So be careful. This has already engulfed you. You are missing the point. Vibhishana is really trying hard in all possible ways to somehow get this fellow out of this. As we know, it didn't happen. And when Prahasta was saying that no, there is no threat and so on, this is what Vibhishana has to say. Ayam cha raja vyasana bhibhutah mitrairabhitra pratimay bhavadbihi Anvasyate rakshasanashanarte tikshna prakritya hyasamikshakari. Ayam cha raja vyasana abhibhutah. So he is got into this vyasana. He is gotten into this He's overpowered by these all these troublemaking things. Okay. Vyasana abhibhutaha mitraihi amitra pratimaihi bhavadbihi. You people are all not his friends. You are all not giving him the right kind of companions actually, right? He thinks you are all friends. They are not. They are not. You are not really his friends. Is what he's saying. Mitraihi amitra pratimaihi bhavadbihi. You are all amitra pratimaihi. You are not friends actually. He thinks you are all friends. He is not. Right? Anvasyate rakshasa nasanarthi. And all these are happening because these are all for nasha of the rakshasas. Right? Tikshna prakritya he asamikshakari. He is not a samikshakari, asamikshakari. I think his acts are all very inconsiderate. There is no samadhana, there is no thinking. Kumbhakarna said the same thing. You are all messed up into your thinking process and so on. Right? Prakritya tikshna, right? Is very sharp and by this thing very rude and by nature, and he is acting with all kind of wrong companies. He tells at the Pragastha, no, what you are saying are all wrong. Now this Vyasana Abhibhutaha, I was just seeing, in that Ramayana book in Gita Press, they had given what are these addictions that kings normally have. So that's the shloka there which I put below. Vagdandayostu parushyam artadushanameva cha panam stri mrigaya dhyutam vyasanam saptadha prabho. See, saptadha is coming there, sevenfold. Saptadha means sevenfold. So these sins are sevenfold. That's what it is. I don't know the reference. They have not given the reference. It may be in Mahabharata only, I think. So he says, Vag dandayoho tu parushyam. In speaking, there is parushya. Parushya is rudeness, harshness. And dandayoho, when giving punishment also, these kings are very harsh. So vag dandayoho parushyam, two of them are over. Artha dushanam, lavish spending. That is the third vyasana. Artha dushanam evacha. Then panam, drinking too much. Then stri. In fact, going after some love for woman. This is what this fellow is in big trouble now. Stri, mrigaya, hunting. That is another bad habit of king. Hunting. Dyuta. That is what happened in Mahabharata. They got into gambling. And this looks like it's part of the requirement to. Today, the so-called kings are the CEOs of big companies. They will go to Sunday morning, they have to go for a golf club and they have to spend time. They have to go and then have some drink and, play golf for some time, have drink and have a chat and come. So like that, this Dyutam is part of it, I think. It is part of the requirement that you have to play gambling with all your like-minded kings. That is what brought a lot of, trouble for, the Pandavas in the other story. Anyway. So these are the seven things. So Vibhishana actually lashed out at Prahastha. Parasya viryam sobalam cha buddhva stanam kshayam chaiva tataiva vriddhim tata swapakshepyanumrishya buddhya vade kshamam swami hitam samantri. He says, who is a mantri? You fellows are not mantris. You are not good counselors. He says, who should be a good counselor? Parasya viryam, you have to examine the virya of the enemy. Parasya viryam, swabalam cha buddhva, assess your strength. Right? Stanam kshayam chaiva. So what is our status? What is going to get lost? Stanam kshayam chaiva, tataiva vriddhim. What will be kshayam? What will be vriddhi? What will grow? What will shrink? You have to make this kind of an assessment, right? Tata swapakshepi anumrishya, right? Thereafter, thinking about anumrishya, think about swapaksha. In the same way, think about our own thing also, right? Buddhya vade kshamam Swami hitam. It should be for the hita of the Swami. Right? It is not pleasure, it is good. You have to tell what is good, not what is pleasurable. So, Saha Mantri. He is a Mantri. You fellows are not Mantri. You are all simply playing to his tunes. That is not what has to be done. Is what Vibhishana appears to be a man of great wisdom and who knows a lot of worldly matters, who was dismissed. 15th Sarga. Now it is Indrajit's turn now. Indrajit dismisses Vibhishana's advice. After Vibhishana spoke to Prahasta and so on. So Indrajit actually says that he says, he recalls all his brave acts in the past. And then he says, you uncle, you are my father's younger brother. I think you are covered. You are unnecessarily worrying about Rama. You are showing a lot of cowardice. That's what Indrajit said. And Vibhishana replied. He said, you are a child. You are my son, sort of a son in some ways. So you are, Vibhishana said that, no, you are talking out of complete childish intelligence. You are not in the know of the reality. And what you are saying is also not correct. So, again and again, Vibhishana was singularly trying to somehow, avoid this catastrophe. Even after all this, everybody dismissed. That's why Vibhishana went away. We will see in the next few sargas, we will find in the 19th sarga, Vibhishana is with Rama. That's what we will find in the 19th or 18th sarga that will happen. So this is what happens. This is a very intense phase of Vibhishana trying hard to show the blind spot, not just to Ravana, but to the ministers, to everyone. Kumbhakarna also tried in his own ways, but then Ravana is no mood to listen to all that. Therefore, I think we all know what is going to happen is only war now. I think with this, we will close today's discussion with the Mangala Shloka. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha gobrahmanebhyo shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukino bhavantu kale varshatu parjanyah prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam kshobarahito brahmana santu nirbhaya aputra putrinas santu pautrinah adhana sadhana santu jivantu sharadam shatam shunvan ramayanam bhaktya yappadam padameva sayati brahmanastanam brahmana pujyate sada. Hari Om. Okay.